during these takeovers, the participants are, again, engaging in various illegal activities. They're chaos in nature, right? And they're increasing in frequencies. At what point are the police going to start being preventative and not reactive? I'm sure you guys have seen some videos of it. There was some stuff popping off in Cleveland recently, and we're going to find out exactly what a street takeover is because a lot of people don't know. So a street takeover is an event where a large group of people gather in a public space, often a street or an intersection, primarily for the purpose of performing stunts and engaging in illegal street racing. If you guys want, like, if you you're not privy and you haven't really seen one and you're just too lazy to go on Reddit or X, the best way I can describe it would be kind of like the beginning of the Fast and Furious movie, Fast and Furious 1, where Paul Walker, pre-death, RIP, goes on there and he's gonna race. And he's racing through the streets, everything like that. It's blocked off, that sort of thing. So a key characteristic, so you can kind of discern what it's like, but law enforcement has given some key characteristics of what a street takeover is, and it kind of boils down to a couple different factors. So one of it's going to be an illegal activity. So the participants are often engaging in activities such as burnouts, drifting, and racing, which are typically illegal in urban environments. There's going to be a gathering of a crowd. These events attract large crowds, including spectators who come to watch that action. But not only that, people are kind of assigned to block things off and take a lookout or maybe disturb the peace, that kind of thing. The atmosphere is often charged with excitement and a camaraderie amongst the people because at the end of the day, they all love cars and they all love chaos and they want to see what's going on. There's some spontaneity to it. So street takeovers are usually organized informally, often communicated through social media or word of mouth. This spontaneity does make it difficult for law enforcement to predict or respond effectively, which I'll talk about a little bit later. There's also going to be some safety concerns. Street takeovers can pose serious risks not only to the participants but also to bystanders. Accidents can occur due to high speeds and reckless driving, leading to injuries or fatalities. Again, not just for the driver, but for spectators as well. There's a video that's circulating on the internet right now of a young man getting hit during a donut burnout of a Mustang. He gets ran over, rips that exhaust out, and then the car drives away and it just bursts flame out of the tailpipes and drives away. But it's some pretty crazy shit that pops off there. There is a community impact to this. So some view street takeovers as a form of expression or community bonding, but they can also create significant disruptions, which include traffic congestion, noise complaints, and safety hazards for the surrounding areas. And I guess overall, street takeovers highlight a blend of car culture and youth rebellion, which often reflects larger societal issues and community dynamics. So let's talk about Cleveland. So recently, Cleveland has seen an increase in street takeovers, which have garnered some pretty significant media attention and community concern. Here's a video. I think that
yeah, Tom, this is the video that you were just referring to as far as
right.
that kid getting hit. So if you want to watch that, we can.
I would love to. Put that on.
Give me 1 second.
Old boy's got a boot on. Wow. Jeez, oh man, that's kind of crazy. So thanks to Anthony for pulling that video up. Anthony, my producer and former co-host who has now moved behind the camera. We certainly appreciate what he does and makes it easy for us. But I do have a video up here. So this is a video from I believe yesterday, but it's gonna show some of the stuff that's popping off in Cleveland and give you a good idea of what's what these street takeovers actually do look like in a real world setting, and not like in a romanticized type setting like the Fast and the Furious, which, you know, glorifies stuff like that, right? I mean, that's the whole point of the movie, was racing and everything, so it made it cool. And so we'll kind of see like the flip side of that, maybe like the not so cool side. Let's take a gander, Anth.
This morning, a troubling national trend: illegal street takeovers seen in cities across the United States. And now the dangerous practice has hit close to home. There have been more than half a dozen incidents in all, terrorizing Cleveland neighborhoods and leading police to hold a news conference yesterday. Our Giovanni Ligi has the latest on the investigation.
Really, so many chaotic moments across Cleveland during what police say was a social media street takeover. People are accused of setting fires, stopping traffic, and pointing guns at random people.
You gotta go to work in the morning? Hey, don't get out of the vehicle, get off.
Video shows the terrifying moments a party bus driver is trapped in what police say was a street takeover, shutting down the I-90 Interbelt Bridge in Cleveland. Watch as people try to break into the bus.
They're swarming us now.
They're running around outside of the, they're running, my passengers in the back are telling me they have guns pointed at them through the windows of the bus.
Tim Beck has been in business for more than a decade. He tells me those moments were like a movie scene.
They dumped gasoline across the street and then lit the whole road on fire. And flames, I mean, you're talking 10-foot tall flames going across the roadway. And they kept dumping gas on it, and they were doing figure eights and burnouts in the street.
Cleveland police say the I-90 takeover was just one of the multiple locations people caused chaos. Police say there were at least 6 other places where the groups stopped traffic, causing critical resources to become tied up.
The worst part of it was I called 911, got a recording. 5 minutes it took 911 to call me back.
We had received reports that there was somebody from Cincinnati that had organized a group to come up here to meet and for this event to take place.
Police say the people involved set off fireworks, shot pellets at police, hitting at least one officer, and pointed other weapons at random people.
These type of people are making it uncomfortable for people like myself and for passengers and anybody just wanting to have a good time on a weekend evening to go downtown. You just never know what's going to happen.
Tim shows me the damage to his party bus. They're standing on this.
Yeah, they're standing on there. That once they busted that window out, well, they were on this doorstep.
He says he doesn't know if it can be repaired.
That window's well over $1,000, if we can even get it at this point. Unfortunately, the conversion company that converted this bus is out of business. So it's a possibility we may not even be able to get that piece of glass.
And the bus is now an op because it's also, they pried so much the window, it's unlatched.
The door doesn't close.
It doesn't close all the way.
So they were pulling on it that hard.
They're yanking on the door.
And this is video in a parking lot on West 65th, one of those 6 locations that police say people took over. Police say that they did arrest people, but it's unclear who else they might be looking for. So still a very developing situation and just incredibly terrifying for everyone involved. Reporting from the Clark Fulton neighborhood, Giovanni Ligi, 3 News.
Yeah, such scary.
All right. So, hey, listen. So we just saw like kind of like a firsthand account of a business owner who's impacted by these events, right? So here's my question. We have a street takeover, in essence, as we went over. They're chaos in nature, right? And they're increasing in frequency. So there are reports that are indicating a rise in the number of street takeover events in Cleveland, and they occur late at night and they draw big crowds, but now they're becoming more visible in certain neighborhoods, right? And during these takeovers, the participants are, again, engaging in various illegal activities, such as the drifting, burnouts, and impromptu racing. It's attracting participants, the spectators. It's a festive atmosphere, but it has like some significant safety risks, right? And law enforcement. So we heard in that video, right? In that very video, they're talking about, give me one second. In that very video, they're saying like, hey, we heard that this was done in Cincinnati. It was like started to be organized, right? And people are coming up here. So law enforcement agencies are struggling to manage these events effectively. In some cases, they're attempting to disperse crowds or make arrests, but the spontaneous nature of the takeovers makes it challenging to prevent them from occurring, right? So here's my question on that. If we know that it occurred in Cincinnati and we have all this technology, how can we not trace it back? How can we not identify these individuals? How can we not vet their Discords, vet their Twitter feed, X, whatever you want to call it, their Instagram feeds, their Facebook messages? Because I mean, at that point, that's a destruction of property. And yeah, it's not on like the person who organized the event might have not been that person that broke that window, but at the end of the day, they encouraged this to occur. They set this up. So how is he not held liable in some instance, right? So the Cleveland Police Department says that there was an Instagram post on Saturday evening that warned of these events, which were allegedly organized by someone from Cincinnati. The police said that they were monitoring the activity to see if the incidents would happen. Unfortunately, they did show up in the area, is what one of the policemen is quoted as saying. So I've heard this a few times, and I guess this really puts the nail in the coffin for it. Police aren't preventative, they're reactive. If you knew that there was even an iota of a chance of an event occurring, right? Why didn't they do anything about it to try to prevent it? Why weren't they on site? There's an Instagram post, man. Like Instagram's one of the biggest social media platforms, and it's definitely being utilized by law enforcement to catch people, right? So is it just not as important to see this and prevent it from happening and make sure something can be done to mitigate it in the future? It kind of bothers me in that instance. We see a business owner that's directly impacted at this point, right? But what if it's a ambulance that needs to get through? What if someone's like literally like being transported and they're dying? You know what I mean? Like we're at the point where what the heck can be done? And it's sad. It's very sad. It looks cool. Like that dude that had that purge mask on that was blinking blue on the black, that looked pretty sick. Like I was pretty down with that. But then I hear like they're actually like lighting roads on, like not roads on fire, but they're putting gas on the asphalt and then lighting it up, and it's just creating a nuisance. So I think there's a difference between having fun and being an asshole. You know, you're kind of an asshole when you're younger, and then when you grow up, you learn how to have fun and maybe not be as much of an asshole, right? Or if you are still an asshole, then you might realize that there's consequences, or you might not. So what boat are those people in? And I bet that they're in the latter. I bet that they're in the group of thinking that, hey, as long as we're having fun, it doesn't fucking matter what happens to somebody else, right? I mean, there are actual tangible consequences that can come from something like this. And we see it when we see that business owner. That business owner, he said it himself. He might not be able to fix that window because the conversion company that had outfitted that bus is no longer in business, right? So let's think about that. He might have to retire that bus and spend an additional $85,000 to $125,000 minimum to get the bus, if it's worth its salt in anything, and then to converting it ain't cheap. You know, I mean, I've worked for car dealerships, and we've upfitted vehicles that were like 25 and 3,500 and above, work trucks and vans, and it wasn't cheap to upfit them. But also on the flip side, I helped facilitate an order one time for a customer to get a wheelchair lift put in their car. It's not cheap to get that shit done. And they're going to have to convert it, another bus, to make it right. And then they're going to have to outfit it with different glass, which is to carry on their appearance and everything, right? So it's just interesting. We're in this world now where we believe that because we have a camera with us and we're being funny and, you know, we're having a good time, that people should have the same good time that we're having. And just like, it's not always that way. I mean, if you even harken back to some of the videos that people make when they like go out there and like that what's his name, the Jay kind of funny, I think his name is, or something like that. He's the guy that does the Chupapi Muñeño thing. Like, he'll yell it at people. Like, he goes in the stores and like just throws shit at people and try to get a rise out of people. Like, yeah, it's funny when you watch it initially, but like kind of now, like watching it, like getting a little bit older, I'm like, this is kind of fucking lame. Like, you're just creating a nuisance. Like, not everyone's having fun just because you're having fun. You know, like, at what point are the police going to start being preventative and not reactive in this? Because again, hearkening back to it, we see actual property that's part of someone's livelihood destroyed. Like, again, what happens if there's an ambulance? What happens when there's an actual like death consequence from these blocked off things? And like I said, I mean, it's cool seeing it in Fast and Furious. It's awesome seeing it in there because that's what the movie's based on, but that's not real life. You know, like, real life is filled with trials and tribulations, and life is hard enough. So we don't need to make life harder for other people and block off their roadways and make shit more dangerous, because the world's dangerous enough. We don't need more people coming in and making danger into something funny. Like, and it really makes me question, like, you had knowledge of this because you saw Instagram posts on Saturday evening. Like, why are we not at least like messaging these people and saying, hey, if you do show up, there's going to be a fucking consequence? So I would really think about it if I were you, right? And there needs to be actual consequences for that. Like, these people should be, like, if they're caught or, you know, they're ever brought in or they screw up or they slip up, because I imagine they're a pretty calculated outfit. Like, what is the punishment gonna be for something like that? But and I don't have even like an iota of an answer, but I mean, I think that it's gonna be really interesting to see what goes on and how they prevent this and how they fix these situations going forward. So street takeovers look cool on Fast and Furious, but they're no fun in real life, man. And you know, let us know what you think about that. We'll chop this up. We'll put it in as a short, or not a short, but a medium form video in the future. So go ahead and like, comment on this video if you've gotten this far. Let me know what you think, and go ahead, if you haven't, hit the subscription bell to the cut down there, and share the channel so we can get you some more information as we go into the future with some more fun shit.